Over the past 2 to 3 years, I've been living as a digital nomad in places like Mexico, Colombia, London, Turkey, Budapest, Hungary, Lisbon, Portugal, and other places like that around the world. And the way that I've been able to do that is by having an online high ticket coaching program. And a lot of people always ask me, D, how did you start your business? How did you start traveling? And so what I want to do in this video is show you a behind the scenes of my journey. That way, maybe it can inspire you to be able to do the same thing. All right, so it's super hot outside today, so I needed to find a place to sit down while I tell the story. But back in 2020, I had just moved to downtown Orlando with my wife and with my stepdaughter. And the crazy thing is, at that time, I had just lost my last client for my social media agency that I was running in Orlando. And so in 2016 or 2017, I came across this guy named Ty Lopez. If you don't know who Ty Lopez is, he's basically one of the OG internet marketers. And so I started seeing his YouTube content, started coming across his courses, and I really started thinking, hey, this is something that I want to do. I want to be able to use my knowledge to make money, and I want to be able to use my content to inspire people. And so I ended up taking one of his courses on how to create a social media marketing agency. And so that's what I was doing since 2016 or 2017 to basically 2020, was in person in Orlando. I would go to different businesses, I would take the photos, take the videos, and I would post them on social media for them in order for them to attract more clients. I worked with lawyers, restaurants, stem cell doctors, all these different types of companies. But as I started traveling, I realized, hey, I want to be able to have freedom. And it just started feeling like, although I am my own boss, I really work for all of these other companies because they can just tell me what to do at any time. Hey, D, where are the photos? Hey, do this, do that. And I thought I had a lot of good ideas, but they wouldn't listen to my ideas because they just looked like I was an employee rather than, hey, you hired me, here's my knowledge. And so I wanted to create an online type of business. Now, I had just lost my last in-person social media marketing agency. So I literally had no income at this time, but I, for some reason, felt like God was calling me to challenge myself to do something bigger. And I remember telling my wife, hey, I feel like God is calling us to downtown Orlando. I know it's going to be more expensive, but I just feel like this is something that God is calling us to do, for us to step outside of our comfort zone. And so we ended up finding a place that we really liked downtown Orlando. We had a date in mind of when we wanted to move. And the crazy thing is, they said, hey, if you are willing to, join or basically sign up, we can give you 2 months for free. And so I knew, okay, let's just go all in on this place. We have 2 months and I just really have to hustle. And I remember I would just walk around downtown Orlando with Expert Secrets book by Russell Brunson, .com secrets, and I had this big old whiteboard that I would carry around, and I was just trying to write down like what ideas I had, what course I was going to create, and all this type of stuff. And it was basically going nowhere fast. I was just not able to figure out what type of program I was going to have and what business, what offer I was going to have. I just couldn't really figure it out. And during the 2020 is when the pandemic started, and so a lot of people were doing like online Zooms, and they were just like getting together more, right? And so I started like doing these podcast interviews. And on one of the podcasts, one of my guests was like, hey, you should check out this guy named Dan Henry. He has this book called, I think it's Digital Millionaire Secrets. You should get that book. It'll really help you out with what you're trying to do. So I went online, bought the book, and then Dan had this upsell called Whiteboard. I think it was Whiteboard Webinar or something like that. It was like $97. I bought it. It was supposed to teach you how to take an offer, how to sell it. I think I was only selling it for like $97, and then you could turn that into an online coaching program later. And I couldn't even sell anything for like $97. I was so frustrated. I remember he just kept saying, if you're struggling with this, get on a call, book a call with my team, book a call with my team, book a call with my team. And I was so like frustrated, and I was just so like, all right, let's book a call with this team. And I was so excited to get on a call with this team. I didn't know anything about coaching programs or sales calls or any of this type of stuff. So I get on a call with this team. And the lady is basically asking me all these questions, like, what is it that you're struggling with, blah, 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 blah. So I'm telling her, and then at the end of the call, she's like, all right, so the good news is we can help you out. So I'm really excited. And she's like, but it's going to cost $10,000. Mind you, we still got to pay, I think the 2 months was up maybe. So I still had to pay rent. I'm downtown Orlando. The rent is like $2,200, $2,500 or something. We picked a super nice place. That way I was forcing myself to hustle. We had to buy groceries still, car, like all these different types of things. And the rent was, I think we had to pay the rent in just like a couple of days. And so I was like, I literally have like no money, like I cannot do this. And I was just like really shrinking in myself of like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to do this. And I remember she asked me a very important question. She said, is there ever a time in your life where you felt like it was impossible, you weren't going to make it, but you went for it anyways, and like you ended up succeeding? And I started thinking back, and I'm like, man, all these times that God pushed me out of my comfort zone, it really worked. At the time, it felt like it was impossible. It felt like I could never succeed. But once I went for it and actually, just had complete faith, it worked out in my favor. And not only did it work out better than I could have ever imagined. And so I started thinking about my options. Either I could just go back to what I was doing before, walking around Orlando in the blazing hot sun with expert secrets and this whiteboard, like taking this whiteboard to Jimmy John's and just scribbling on and trying to figure it out on my own, which was not working. Or I could just have 100% faith, invest this money, somehow come up with the money, and if someone else had success in their program, I just have to believe that I could too. And so literally, I talked to my wife, prayed about it, and I took the money that we had for the rent. I think it was like the $2,000. I applied for PayPal credit, and I was able to give me my first payment. I think they broke it into like 3 payments. So I had like payments of like a little over $3,000. And I remember it was just so crazy to me at the time. I'm like, I'm investing $10,000 into someone that I really don't know. I just got on this call with them during the pandemic, but I also felt like this is the best time to invest because the government in the United States was like, hey, you can't really kick people out of their apartments because of what's going on. And the government was starting to issue, I forget what it was called, but they were giving us money to help people stay alive during this time. So invested this money. There's people that were calling me crazy, calling me stupid. And I was like, hey, let's just see how this plays out. My goal was to take what I was doing in person, the social media marketing agency, and translate that into an online coaching business, but I didn't understand the messaging and the marketing and all that type of stuff. And so that's really what I paid them for. And so we started working on it, and I was really close. It was like, all right, I'm gonna help entrepreneurs like basically create videos and edit videos on just their phone in order to create engaging videos to attract clients. And then as I started going into groups talking about my offer, I came across a church social media Facebook group, and the advice in there to me was just terrible. It was like the worst advice for churches, for social media, and it was just garbage, right? And so I did a live video in there sharing what I thought was just obvious off my observations of what bigger pastors do and bigger churches do. And it just went crazy. It was getting thousands and thousands of views. And a lot of pastors were reaching out to me saying, how can we pay you for your services? And I was like, I don't have an offer. I don't have anything. And so I was super nervous to then go to Dan Henry's team and say, look, I know that we've been working on this messaging for the past month or however long it is, but now I want to switch. But I was very fortunate when I told them and I said, hey, I'm getting a big response. They said a lot of people try to get a good response like that and they can't. So the fact that you're not even really trying and you are has to mean something. And that's when I started church social media made easy. It's my first high ticket coaching business. Dan Henry was really big on, hey, instead of just trying to have a $100 offer, $500 offer, and because it's cheaper, you think it's easier to get people to sign up, but you still got to have a ton of people. Just have a $3,000 to $5,000 offer and try to get around 3 people to sign up, and now you're making $10,000 per month. And I remember going back to that call, whenever I signed up, she said, what are your goals in the next 6 to 12 months? Where do you want to be? And when I signed up, this was around, I think, March 2020 or something like that, right? I said, man, if I could make $5,000 a month and I could travel every 1 or 3 months around the world or whatever, that would be amazing. I remember she started laughing at me and I was like, what's so funny? And she's like, that's it. And it really kind of hurt my feelings at first because like, this is a big goal for me. Like, and you're telling me that it's small. It just felt like, I don't even think $5,000 a month is possible. And so fast forward, right? I create this program. It's $3,000 for lifetime access. I'm not going to go into all the details of the program, but basically $3,000. I'm going to help them use social media to attract more church members to their church. And at first, I'm just like not getting any traction, and I'm like, this is just freaking not going to work, right? This is just sucks. This is not going to work, and it was just very, 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 very frustrating at first. And I remember I wanted to give up. I wanted to lower the price, and I remember my wife just telling me like, look, we're not going to give up just because we might not be able to pay a bill. We have to keep pushing and we'll eventually get there. Just believe in yourself. And that's all I needed to hear. I was like, man, if you're willing to go homeless with me, I'm willing to go too. So she's a real one, and I really appreciate my wife for that encouragement at that time. And after that, it's like everything changed. I think it was like the next day or something like that, we got someone to sign up, they paid in full. Then we got some other people to join. And within like the first month or two, by the second month, I think we had like a $10,000 month or a $20,000 month. Then we had like a $30,000 month, and our lives completely changed. And we started looking into these digital nomad visas. And at first it was like Barbados. They had a digital nomad visa. They had a digital nomad visa in Barbados. And so we were looking at that. But as we started watching YouTube videos, we realized, hey, instead of just going to one place and trying to become a citizen, we can just go wherever it is that we want in the world and just travel and just keep exploring different places. And so for our anniversary in November 2020, we went to Mexico. We came here to Playa del Carmen. This is where it all started. Actually, first we went to Tulum. Then we came to Playa del Carmen. We weren't even actually going to come to Playa del Carmen because Tulum is what everyone was talking about at the time, posting about on YouTube and Instagram. But I'm very glad we came here because that's really just like a jungle town. This is more kind of like a developed compared to Tulum. So we liked it here. And so we said, hey, when our lease is up in February 2021, we are going to just become digital nomads and just go for it. And I remember I was so excited. That's all I was thinking about. I was watching a ton of YouTube videos. And I remember like my wife was even like, maybe we should put it off for a little bit because, you know, like we're still running the business or it's COVID or these types of things. And I said, if we don't do this now, it's always gonna be an excuse. It's gonna be, oh, well, kids, or this job or that job or whatever the situation is. And I was like, we have to just bite the bullet and do it, or we're gonna be 50 and regret that we never did it. And so in February 2021, I think a little bit before that, so maybe in January, I went and put some money down in a place in Playa del Carmen, and I just told her, hey, look, I put the money down, we're going. We sold all of our stuff. There's other videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch on the journey of us selling our stuff, and we really just went for it. And our thought was, hey, Mexico isn't that far away from the United States. If we don't like it, we can just come back. I know I said like we sold all of our stuff, but I remember we put some stuff still in storage, like the bigger things, just in case if we didn't like it. And our thought was, hey, we'll go to a different country, I think every month. And once we started traveling, we realized like every month is just way too crazy, but it just really opened our mind to, man, when you become a digital nomad, you're just surrounding yourself with other people and communities that think differently, because they wouldn't be living a digital nomad lifestyle if they were just plugged into the matrix, so to speak. But these are people that believe in themselves, that are willing to do outside of the box things, that have a different way of thinking, rather than when we're home and you're kind of always having to explain to your friends and family, why do you think a certain way? Why do you want to do things a certain way? And so it really just opened up our mind to the possibilities of just, you know, what's out there in the world. You know, in the United States, they don't really promote how nice other countries are, how nice other cultures are, how nice even other people in these other places are. And so it really opened up our minds to, these places are nice, these places are amazing, and you can have a really nice quality of life. You can take a US salary and then you can move to a place like Mexico, Colombia, these other places that we live. And because it's so much cheaper, now you can actually build your business, lower your expenses, but you can actually enjoy the fruits of your labor while you're building, rather than in the US, you kind of have to wait until you get to a certain income level to be able to actually enjoy yourself. And so it's just been a really amazing journey, going from that call of, you know, not even being able to see us making $5,000 and being hardly able to travel, you know, once every quarter, to now, like, I've only been back to the US for like 2 or 3 months since 2021. And so it's been 2 or 3 years now doing this. And I think a lot of people think that this is something that's so hard to do. Like, a lot of people are always telling me, D, I wish I could do what you're doing. And I'm like, man, you're already doing the harder part, which is living either in the US or living in the UK, Australia, these places where it costs a lot more. If you can survive there, you could definitely survive as a digital nomad. And one thing I want to break down is, we are basically, me, my wife, and our stepdaughter, living off of basically $50,000 total, all of us, per year. Right now, I pay us, no matter how much we make, around $4,000 per month. My wife has like a side hustle that she does where she gets around, I think around $500 a month. So that's like 6,000. So 4,800 or $48,000, I think, if I'm correct, plus the 6,000. That's about what we're living off of. But again, there's 3 of us. So imagine if it's just you, take that, let's say 50,000 divided by 3, whatever that is, that's less than $20,000. Now, here's the kicker, here's the thing. it's not just how much money you bring in for your business, because you're still gonna have expenses, taxes, and all that type of stuff. So let's say you pay yourself 50%, right? If it costs $20,000, let's say, to live on, you need to make $40,000 per year. Hopefully this math is making sense. And so if you want to make $40,000 per year, this go back to what I did. That's why I think having a high ticket coaching program is the best way to do this, because you can sell a coaching program, selling your knowledge and your coaching services for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 per month. And now you only need 1 or 2 new clients every single month to allow you to be a digital nomad and to travel. So it's very, 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 very possible. And so I hope that this video has given you a behind the scenes look of what that journey has been like for me, hopefully inspired you to maybe go on this journey yourself. I think it's the best thing to do, or one of the best things to do as a business owner, is to go and explore these cheaper countries. That way you can lower your expenses but still have a good quality of life while you're doing that. But also it breaks it down practically to the numbers, right? It's not, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be doing $200,000 a month or even a year to be able to do this. It is very possible. And so, like I said, right now we are actually, can't remember if I mentioned this or not before, but right now, this is the rooftop of our place in Playa del Carmen. Like I said, this is where it all began. And we're actually doing a in-person workshop here next week. So depending on when you watch this video, we might have already done the workshop, but it's just surreal knowing that this right here is where it all, not in this specific building, but this specific city is where it all began. And it just started with a dream. You know, of me seeing Ty Lopez and just saying, hey man, that's something that I want to do. Me, you know, walking around downtown Orlando with expert secrets basically every single day, to investing in Dan Henry, to just putting all of my energy into YouTube, to, you know, get clients, to create content, and to just saying, hey, I want to create a life that I actually enjoy living, and something that's outside of the normal, and something that I can wake up to every day and really enjoy my life. And it's been an amazing 2 to 3 years. And so hope this video has inspired you. If you have any questions about being a digital nomad, just put them in the comments, or being a high ticket coach. Also follow me on Instagram at dgreen. I'll make sure my team puts my handle somewhere up here. And I would just really love to answer any questions and just really help you go on this journey for yourself, if that is something that you want to do. So I love you guys. Appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.